In a world where everyone tries to be fearless, this story is for those who are still learning. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Kael who lived in a land filled with magic and monsters. Kael was a kind and gentle soul, but he had one big problem. He was terribly afraid of his shadow. It started out as just a little fear, nothing more than a slight paranoia that his shadow might one day become a monster that would swallow him whole. But the more he tried to run from his fear, the bigger his shadow grew. And so he ran and ran, deeper and deeper into the whispering woods until he came to a clearing and collapsed on the ground. Looking back, he saw that his shadow had grown enormous, taking the shape of a snarling wolf twice the size of a bear. At that moment, he knew he had two choices. He could keep running or he could face his fear. So, he did the only thing he could think of. He stood up, walked right up to his shadow, and looked it directly in its eyes. And as he did, something magical happened. His shadow shrank back into a tiny little wisp and then vanished completely, leaving behind only a small mirror. When Kael looked into the mirror, he saw not a monster, but a reflection of himself, only smaller and made of pure darkness. And as he watched, the little darkling reached out a hand and touched his heart. In that instant, he felt all the fear and sadness he had been carrying, all the pain and anger that had been holding him back. And he realized that all this time he had been running from himself. With newfound determination, he stepped into the mirror and found himself in a place where light pulsed from within. All around him were people who had come to understand their fears and had turned them into guides to help them on their journeys. Some were crying, some were smiling, but all of them were free. Free from the chains of fear that had held them back for so long. And as he walked among them, he saw that each person had written a single word on a small piece of paper and released it into the night sky. The words floated like shooting stars, leaving trails of light in their wake. And as they floated higher and higher, the sky filled with the word "I face it." Then suddenly, the ground began to shake and a huge roar echoed through the valley. People cried out in terror and hid their faces in their hands. But Kael knew what he had to do. He picked up a lantern, dipped it into the glowing pool and wrote the word "I face it" on it. Then he let the wind carry it away, joining the other lanterns in the night sky. And as he watched them, he knew that he was no longer afraid. He had faced his fear and it had only made him stronger. The end. If you like this story, stay tuned for more adventures. And remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is face your fears head on.